first?
Are you kidding? Of course I have a spiel to do first. Hello and welcome to the first episode of the fifth season of the 2-month review, a weekly podcast brought to you by Open Letter and 3%, in which we take a book and break it down bit by bit, talk about it week by week, make it entertaining, make it fun, give you guys some extra information about the book, and create kind of a good atmosphere for reading difficult things and having a chance to talk about them with each other. I'm joined as always with Brian Wood, who's probably asleep because my rambling spiel is never that entertaining.
I'm looking at shows that have been canceled by their fourth season and just seeing stuff that we beat Lucifer. We beat the devil. The devil got canceled.
Whoa.
So that's excellent. Code Black got canceled. Who would have thought? I don't even know what that is.
I don't even know what Code Black is. Yeah.
Oh,
but somehow,
Hulu's show, The Path, never made it past season 3.
Are you serious? I just saw an ad for that. What about that show that we used to watch after football though? That's still on, I'm sure.
Which one was that?
What was it? I can't even remember the name of it. I wanted to say The Mentalist, but that's wrong. The one that had the guy from Lost who was like Blacklist.
Oh, that was like a running joke. Why would I waste my time with this when I could be watching Blacklist? Come on.
Because obviously best show ever.
Yeah.
Easily. So how are you doing, man?
Good to be back. Hi everyone.
Yeah. This should be a pretty fun season. We're staying in Eastern Europe again, with Dubravka Ugresic's book Fox, which will be the book that we'll be talking about, which I have a copy for you, so you can.
Oh, excellent!
You can get started on it, which is awesome.
Or I can go on the website and I can get it for 20% off. I bet at Open Letter.
Exactly. You go to our website.
That's called a
SEGU. Use that code. It's a good one. It's a good one. Use that code, the number 2 month, one word. You'll get 20% off. We'll ship it to you for free and everything. Be fantastic. So if you don't have a copy of this book, you can get it there. Are you familiar with Dubravka Ugresic at all?
Nothing. Zero.
Nothing.
I don't even know how to say her name.
I'm saying it incorrectly, but it's funny because it's like Dubravka Ugresic. Like the ending has a more sh sound, and that's still not quite right. Like I've heard her and people who are fluent in Serbo-Croatian say it, and it's a little different than that. But it also has diacriticals, diacritical marks on it, which we don't use because she had told me years and years ago, and this is sort of a beginning segue into the history of publishing with Dubravka. But I've been working with her for 15 years now, I think. And at some point early on, she asked us not to use the diacritical marks at all, because she's like, well, my name's already hard enough for English people to pronounce. Like, why make it worse?
I'm glad she's thinking of dumb people like me. So I'm glad there's people out there looking out for guys like me and you. So this is good. All right. Well, I'm gonna just
and she doesn't care if you mispronounce it.
I'm gonna try to mispronounce it or pronounce it differently every single episode. And one of them, maybe I'll just slip into being just right once.
You'll just drop a little Croatian knowledge on there.
Yeah. Well, I got to figure out where it is on a map first, right? So that's the first thing as an American I got to figure out.
There are two important things: where it is on the map and how good is their soccer team.
That's true.
And they are actually, like, I looked this up. They're like one of the sort of darling underdogs of this year's tournament, and they're in a group with Argentina and Iceland, so could get kind of heated.
Okay. We could. I guess I'm not really going to follow World Cup all that much. I'm more interested in. I saw something about Russian hooligans, and like they put Scottish hooligans to shame. Apparently, they go into the woods and have knife fights and stuff. So I'm more into it. About I want to see what happens with the Russian, just like weird Russian fans getting wasted, and if they can be better than Buffalo Bills Mafia, it'd be interesting.
Oh, there's no way, no way. Yeah. Buffalo Bills Mafia for life, man. I'm pretty sure that during the Euro Cup that it was the Russian hooligans and the French hooligans. Well, maybe not French. Whatever.
Russian French hooligans is an oxymoron.
That's why I started to say it, and I was like, that sounds stupid.
A French hooligan only brings brie cheese and not triple cream brie. Like, what?
They're just throwing cheese and baguettes at each other, and the Russians are firing Molotov cocktails.
Yeah, because that's all any of them ever do. We got to figure it out. This has gone off great. This is a wonderful introduction to
a good. I can bring this back in though. That so? Dubravka, I'll talk about her history in a minute, but she writes novels and a lot of essays. And in the first essay book that I ever published of hers was "Thank You for Not Reading" when I was at Dalkey Archive, and there's a lot of anti-soccer player sentiments in there.
That's great. So I love that title too.
Oh God, so good. Yeah, "Thank You for Not Reading" it was brilliant because the reason that we found it was that she was interviewed in Bomb magazine. I want to say that she was interviewed by Monica De La Torre, but I might be wrong about that. But when I saw Monica this past week and mentioned it, and she didn't deny it. So, but she was interviewed for Bomb, and she had a few novels come out already. Like Museum of Unconditional Surrender was available from New Directions, and it was like it's still considered like one of her biggest books, especially on the
emo band
fiction
from San Diego.
I think it's actually a museum in Germany, but like, yeah, It does.
It's like great. It's like, yeah, great.
It's like a
screamo band.
It's a little too sunny.
What was the name of it again?
The Museum of Unconditional Surrender.
Yeah, that's totally like I would die for you my whole life. I love you. Wow, 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 wow. The Museum of Unconditional Surrender's new album. Heartbreak of Eternity comes out next week.
They're gonna be rocking Power Records all summer long. Yeah. But she had that. She had a couple essay collections, Culture of Lies, and the Have a Nice Day, which we're reprinting later this fall, called under the title American Fictionary. And she had a couple of books come out from Northwestern University Press, including Steffi Stuck in the Jaws of Life, which is a book that she wrote that kind of uses this like postmodern technique of like mixing, references to Rabel with like all this stuff about like chick lit and sewing, and uses like diagrams on the side to indicate like how the book would be folded together to create like a pattern. And it was made into a movie in Yugoslavia and is incredibly popular.
Wow.
And was really like her thing that made her a big, big deal. And then she had a book called Fording the Stream of Consciousness. That was a novel that includes a character who's based on Michael Henry Heim, who's a famous translator who passed away a few years ago, who established the Penn Heim Fund. So she's been around. Anyway, she'd been around a lot at that point. Was really the reason I started saying that.
Phrasing.
And this Bomb interview came out, and she was talking about her new book that was called "Thank You for Not Reading" or "Reading Prohibited," which I think was the UK title because they don't say "Thank you for not smoking." It's like "Smoking Prohibited." And she was writing about how it was like making fun of like the entire publishing industry, like the editors, the agents, the book reviewers, and putting forth this kind of idea that like literature today is more or less like Soviet realism, that the New York Times bestseller list tells you how to make these sort of books that are the kind of books that will be popular and that are like not real literature, but are like sort of bookish. And that it's much better if you could be like a soccer player and then become a writer because, that's people want to buy a soccer player's book, but they want to buy someone who's a writer. And if you're a writer, you're never going to be able to become a soccer player. There's a lot of Ivana Trump jokes in there. It's solid. But in the interview, she's like, no one will publish it because the publishing industry is like, no, you can't make fun of us. Like make fun of other things. Which feels very true. And so we contacted her and got that book. And that was the first book that we did at Dalkey of hers. And we reprinted a few after that. And that book sold incredibly well for us. And it's got a great cover. I don't know if you can look it up. If anyone, I don't have it here. I thought I had it at home, but I don't. But it's got this cover of this woman smoking and reading a book called Golden Fiction. And it was like for Golden Fiction cigarettes. And she had found this postcard and sent it to me. I still have the postcard because it was like one of these cool things that like really cool authors have sent to me. I have like 5 of these like really neat artifacts. And this is like one of the main ones because she sent it and she's like, isn't this a cool thing? Yes. Hopefully say something.
Hello. Yeah. So this is what I found.
Yep.
But I'm not that big. Oh, well.
Now you're big when you talk. That's why I wanted to say something. So, for everyone listening to the podcast, that made no sense, but that's cool. So that cover she sent in, she's like, "Isn't this a great image?" And I thought that she had wanted us to use it for the cover of the book. So we looked into it, and that's what we ended up using. I don't know that she intended it that way initially, but it worked out well because it's such a great image for that book, and that book is spectacular.
Huh. Yeah, and this one has no little thingies on the last name, so it's just.
No, but I misspelled the name of the translator.
Oh dear.
Yep.
Whatever. They
It was
don't
one of
matter.
these like
They don't really matter that much. Whatever. Go write your own book. You know, translators. Go write your own book if you want your name spelled right.
I do not respect
this is gonna be so popular. I'm gonna get just beat up so bad at next AWP. There he is. Just like 4 wimpy translators are gonna come up. Yeah.
The translators conference will be here next fall, man. They're gonna come at you.
Oh dear.
You're in trouble. There's 500 of them.
Oh dear.
They can win. Then no, it was horrible. Like I went with the translator to City Lights in San Francisco to see one of the translators to see the book because it had just come out. And he opened up and he's like, "You spelled my name wrong." It's like, no, that's a funny joke, but like I didn't. And he's like, no, it's absolutely wrong.
Oh dear, dude. Jeez.
Whoops. But anyways, but like so we ended up doing a few books of hers at Delkey and they did fairly well. She did we did reprint 2 and then we did and then she left and went to HarperCollins and did this book, The Ministry of Pain, which is another novel. And so there's the novels are also good emo band. Maybe
it's true.
This one might be more Boston related. A Providence band, The Ministry of Pain. The pain is like the fact that at Brown they don't get any grades. So there's like you go through her career. There's usually like a couple. There's a novel and then some collection of essays and then a novel, collection of essays, more or less back and forth. And it was after Ministry of Pain, I believe, that she did Nobody's Home, which is the very first book that Open Letter ever published. And that's a collection of essays about living in exile, which is something that is worth noting. If you're not familiar with Dubravka's history, she was born and raised in Yugoslavia when it was Yugoslavia. And in the early 90s, when the Croatian government and Serbian governments started having problems, she came out being very nationalistic, anti that sort of thing that was happening there, where they were trying to split apart, and any Serb in Croatia was being harassed, and every Croatian in Serbia was being harassed, and everyone was sort of splitting apart into these two big polar, patriotic tribes. She was very against that, and the government ended up printing her name and phone number and address in the paper and referring to her as one of the witches of Zagreb, and suggesting that people harass her. So it was one of these. She went into exile in 1991 or 92, and it was that sort of exile where it wasn't like the government didn't say you have to leave so much as they made it impossible to stay. So she ended up going around and moving to Berlin, teaching in the U.S. for a while at various colleges, and then settling now in Amsterdam, which is where Ministry of Pain is set. Is in the Netherlands. But so she keeps going back and forth between these, and Nobody's Home is a collection that's mostly about exile and about that sort of experience and living in that. Then she did a book. I'm just going to run through all these. You can jump in with more questions whenever you want. Baba Yaga Laid an Egg, which is part of the Canongate Myths series of retelling myths that they did for a while. Canongate and Grove had famous authors redo myths in kind of contemporary ways and take them in whatever direction they want. And this is super funny because it's got sort of a retelling of a Baba Yaga myth in the middle, but it also has this thing at the beginning that's totally more about a writer that's being pursued by this young person that really looks up to them and reveres them. And then the third section is notes from the publisher being this is what we wanted. We wanted a short little book that was just and you wrote this 300-page postmodern. We don't understand what. That's not what we were looking for. So it's a really funny, really creative, inventive book. And then we came out with Karaoke Culture, which I believe it came out in the fall of 2011, or in 2011. And it was a finalist for the National Book Critics Circle Award for Criticism. And I'm going to tell you're not going to believe this. So these were where is it? The finalists that year for criticism for the National Book Critics Circle was Dubravka Ugresic's Karaoke Culture. David Bellos is that a Fissioneer. David Bellos is one of the great translators of all time. The book is great. I teach that. Jeff Dyer, otherwise known as The Human Condition. Jonathan Lethem, The Ecstasy of Influence, and Ellen Willis, Out of the Vinyl Deeps. Ellen Willis on rock music, which is like an incredibly loaded category.
You picked a bad year to be in that finalist. Jeez.
No, I thought we would win somehow, but no, she didn't win. I don't even remember who won. I think Jeff Dyer did, I'm pretty sure. But we did that, and then we did another collection of essays, Europe in Sepia, which is similar in tone. And like the essays are great because they're always like witty, sort of not aphoristic, but they're witty and they're like aggressive and funny, and they sort of attack like some part of culture or part of like of society and things that she notices, and have like a bit of a broader point, but they always bring you in. Like they're like those sort of essays where they can be sort of aggressive, but you don't feel like you're being attacked. That you're always on her side. She's not attacking you. She's attacking other things. And karaoke culture in particular, like that lead essay is great because it is all about like this idea of that people want to just imitate other things, not make their own art. They're just going to be, little karaoke.
So that kind of aggressive, and it sounds like she's kind of transgressive as well. Is that something that allures you and why you want to publish so much of her stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that she, in her writing, like she's always like changing the form of how the book can be. So as you'll see as we go through Fox, like the idea of this, it's a novel, but like right away in the first bit, you're gonna be like, this isn't really a novel. It seems like more like kind of literary criticism of a sort, and it does change throughout time and throughout the different parts of it. But it is pretty much a novel. There's like a narrator who seems to be the same narrator throughout, but each one of the different parts, she's of a different age and a different setting and a different sort of phase of life. But there are certain things that keep recurring. And that's kind of what I think is really fun about this book in particular, is that there are kind of, it's not really Olympian, so to speak, where there's like constraints or things have to appear, but there's certain types of events that keep showing up and keep kind of being reimagined. And each one of the chapters too, which I might be wrong, we might be able to figure this out, but as I read it the second time, I was noticing that there's usually like one thing that's invented. Like a lot of it seems to be fairly true or accurate.
There's an invented part. There's an invented part somewhere in the, okay.
Tie it all back in.
Yeah. I hate coming on this. I seriously hate coming on this because people always ask, like, what are you reading right now? And like you try to explain, so I'm reading this book about people that climb inside trees and then their blood comes out and then they die in there. Or no, I'm reading this book about this guy that's become the God particle and he drowned or something. Or
people ask you what you're reading?
Sure. I'm an engaging person. People talk to me, Chad. It's amazing. If you put positivity out into the world, it'll come back to you sometimes.
It's a lie. It's a lie. It's a filthy lie.
No, somebody asked me yesterday, like, well, what kind of stuff do you read? Because like they told me, like, yeah, Jack Reacher. I'm like, oh, I haven't read that. I know of it, but I haven't read it. Or what about, this one? I'm like, no, I haven't read that either. Or do you read Ken Follett? And I'm like, no, I don't even know what that is. It's like a bestseller. So then what do you read? I don't know, weird stuff. People's names I can't even pronounce.
I think you just need to say that you're reading the new new Bill Clinton book. I've heard it's great.
So this sounds like another one of those. Awesome. I have no idea what's going on.
I don't think it's not going to be quite like that. It's a little bit different. Yeah. It's she's very plain spoken. Everything sort of builds in like a normal way. It's not like overly like high concept the way that Rodrigo Frazan's book was, the invented part. It's not that high concept in that way, but it is playful. It's always very playful. We actually, like, when this was coming out, it got all-star reviews in all of the pre-pub things, and every review has been extraordinarily positive, where people just enjoy like playing around with it and like seeing the sort of games that go on. One thing that's worth mentioning too is that she won in 2016. She won the Neustadt Prize for International Literature, which is a prize that's given out every other year to a writer from around the world for their body of work. So similar to like the Nobel, but it's awarded through the University of Oklahoma because the person who donated the money had gone to Oklahoma. So they have this whole, it's incredible like
yeah, I read that boring. You did a really boring essay in LitHub about it. It was super boring. I read it. Yeah,
I did.
It was like an introduction to this. It's like, oh, geez. This sounds really interesting, and somehow Chad's making this boring.
It's like, hello, welcome to the Neustadt Prize. It's a boring prize you can't pronounce. We're going to talk about
Norman,
it in boring tones.
Yeah, how do you make Norman, Oklahoma cool? You know, sorry, all the folks in Norman. God's trying to kill you with tornadoes. Get it already. Leave.
One of the people I met there was like, this is a part of the world where no one's supposed to live. Like everything that comes through here is like wrecking. It's like you can't farm here. There's tornadoes. It's just
diabetes,
should not be inhabited.
Yeah, just everything. Half my family still lives in Oklahoma, so I can rip them all I want. I can rip them.
Fair.
It's fair.
Absolutely fair. But yeah, it's a great ceremony because they do like a whole week-long thing. They have like all the students that go to Oklahoma, they can take a class on the winner. So they read all of the winner's books and like then meet and interview the winning author. It's like a pretty cool thing. It's really nice. Really nice.
Sounds amazing.
It's like a big award. It comes with a nice cash advance, like a metal feather, like an award feather.
So then what are you doing for music to introduce to?
Funny you should ask. I asked everyone in the YouTube thing. Yeah, if anyone's listening to this, if you have suggestions, go for it. I have a couple things in mind that are like the very anti they play against. What's your suggestion?
I think since it's called Fox, it should be the theme song from a different Michael J. Fox movie every week. So like one week it might be Teen Wolf, another week it might be Doc Holliday. Another week it might be Secret of My Success. I'm gonna run out of.
That's the one I was thinking of. That's the first thing I thought of when you said that, and I don't know why.
Why did I pick those before Back to the Future? Like the super obvious ones. What's wrong with me?
No. Secret of My Success, man.
I love that movie when I was a kid. I don't know why.
because
he's changing in the elevator.
Yeah, because it's a stupid quasi-hoarding movie about like some guy making it.
And Oh, and there's a pun in the name, so that's got to be good. The Secret of My Success. Oh, okay, got it. This is great.
Oh my God. Yeah. So I don't know what other things to tell you about her, because I think like for anyone listening for an introduction to the book, you kind of just have to get in. There's one thing I'm gonna say. Actually, I almost forgot. So the first chapter is based around this story by Boris Pilniak, I think is how you say it, called a story.
Just go high pitched on everything, and it's okay. It's by Boris Pilniak.
It's like Boris.
Yes.
It's called The Story About How Stories Come to be Written, and it's like a 14-page story, which I went and searched through our library. It took forever because like I forget it. There's just like it was dumb. It wasn't in any of the books. There's all these books that had stories of his, but not this story. Half of them were in fucking Russian. And eventually I found it, and I have it here. So if anyone listening to this, watching this, or reading about it, just email me, and I'm going to scan this in and I'll send it to you in case anyone's interested in reading it before reading the section. It's not super long and it's not necessary, but it is interesting because she's talking about that story as kind of the basis for like this whole structure of the novel, but also especially this part and like the idea of like how writers take something and create a piece of art out of it, which sounds more simple.
I'll sign up for it. I'd actually really like to read that, just mostly because I want to try to sound smart at some point when we have guests on. So I'll read it just for that. Yeah.
And we're not going to send it. So this is just between you and me. We'll not send it to the guests next week because they have an idea that they're just going to be able to come at you and undercut you. This so we're gonna just stack the deck against them
season
and humiliate
5. them. There's got to be a twist, and this twist in season 5 is we're coming prepared. That's the twist.
We're coming prepared, and we're going to antagonize our guests.
Yeah, we're going to read stuff and then just
straight up.
Gotcha journalism.
Yeah, be like, what do you know about Pilniak? Nothing. That's because you're a bad guest. No, but anyone who wants it, just email me and we'll send it along. I don't know if there's anything else I was going to say about her works. I've always really liked her. I've thought that she's fascinating. She's one of the smartest writers I know, and she's a great like person to be around. She's like wonderfully cranky at times, and I've had one amazing experience of in Amsterdam when I was there for a different conference. We went out for a glass of wine, and she was telling me the story about like trying to get through the airport, and they have this new system that she wasn't aware of, and like none of it would work, and she eventually couldn't get it to work. And it was like this great, funny, like rambling sort of story. And then a couple years later, we got her next book, and that story is in there as an essay. And so it was this great time of like seeing her feel out like how to tell that story right.
Yeah.
Which I always love. Like I like when like writers do that and like get a kind of like some sort of like the inner working or whatever of how it comes to be made.
That's great. Is she going to be able to make it on this season, or
I'm sure she will. I sort of held it out there to her, but I haven't pushed her on it yet. She will be touring through the United States in the middle and end of September, beginning of October. So she's going to have a number of stops, which I'll be able to fill people in but as we get later in the season. But that's for the next book that we're doing called American Fictionary, which is a reissue with some changes and additions. But that is also, so that will come out in September and will mark the exact 10-year anniversary of Open Letter's existence as a publisher. And it's the first book was hers, and the 10-year book is hers as well. So we sort of planned it out so that she could come be part of all of our galas and celebrations and things like that.
Oh, Chad, that sounds amazing.
We try to do our best for authors.
I like that. That's actually kind of cool. I'm joking about it because I'm actually like, it makes me feel good to hear that. So.
I'm putting a little positivity out there in the world, and
screw that. Well, cool. Hopefully we can meet her. I'd love to meet her. Sounds really cool.
She's great, and she's like one of the I always refer to like one of the authors that we've done everything we could to be able to keep publishing her, and I want all of her books to be available. I want her to she's one of the authors that the press is sort of based on.
Yeah, and she's perfect for Rochester because they will not appreciate her at all here. I'm positive of it.
She's been invited to give one of the Neely lectures at the library, at the U of R library, which is like one of the big premier things. So we'll get a good audience for her. And then
excellent.
And then the rest of the writing community will be too busy. I don't know what. I have no joke. Speaking of, if anyone listening to this, well, I guess you'd have to be watching it, but you're going to be reading on Wednesday.
Yeah.
This Wednesday. So anyone in Rochester, come to Three Heads Brewing on Wednesday at 7:00, and you can see Brian Reed, Tony Luizzi, and Chen Chen will all be. It should be in order from least to most important. It goes Chen Chen, Tony, you.
Oh, that's fantastic to hear.
So, yes, obviously.
Sure. Yeah.
That'll be fun.
Three handsome mans reading up on stage. Come see us all.
It'll be fun. That's gonna be great. I don't know. Do you have any other questions or things that you wanted to know about her?
No, I'm ready. I'm ready to rip into Dubravka phrasing. Sorry, I'm ready to rip into that book. I'm excited.
I am too. I think this will be a fun season.
And I want to challenge everybody that's going to be doing season 5 with us. Maybe we can all individually do a fun Amazon review of it, and let's just flood the Amazon reviews for Fox in some just ridiculous fashion. I think that would be fun.
I think that's a great idea. Everyone listening, and everyone who's a guest, just 5-star, make up whatever you want. Have you, speaking of, and this is a nice callback to our first ever season. Have you seen the new review of The Invented Part on Amazon? There's no reason you would.
No.
Don't doubt you're going there.
When I heard they weren't coming to Rochester, I'm not paying attention to Amazon now. They rejected us as a city. So
that's yeah, but just wait, because after Friday's event, like they're going to be all over it.
What is it?
So there's a 1-star review that came out.
Oh, these are the best.
So he sent it. Rodrigo sent it because he found it. I'm not seeing it, but that's because nothing ever works for me. But basically, they're like, this book is just pretentious. It's like of all the books that Open Letter has published, I need to find it. You vent for a second. Let me get his email to work. It's wonderful. Okay, I think this is it. Okay, here we go. 1-star review, June 7th, 2018, from Amazon customer. Nope. This is pretentious trash. I'd call it ambitious, but I think it's more manipulative and smug. Good golly. It is dodgy and lacks a true narrative. It is paradox and oxymoron for the sake of contradiction with no thematic or meaningful purpose. This is yet another product of a graduate writing class. It is the Billy Collins of sci-fi, which that might be the best line. No,
Billy,
no.
That's what you list an elevator pitch. Like you can get an agent. Hey, what do you write? It's the Billy Collins of sci-fi. Send it to me.
Put that, DM that to me. Slip it right in there. Slip it in my DMs. I love Billy Collins' sci-fi. In its layers of nonsense and vagaries, it attempts to find substance. Wait, but it is lost in its own diaphanous folds of silly pretension. What is here, what exists in actuality, are pandering illusions and cheap shots. Real authors, real tragedies. These are the only things that give weight to the story, and they are borrowed inexcusably. I'm a subscriber to Open Letter Books, the publisher of this book, and this is their most eye-rolling offering to date. Pretentious, smug, and in the end, empty. It is a pretender novel, and all the gushing reviewers refuse to admit, perhaps out of fear, that the emperor has no clothes.
That's fantastic, man.
Isn't it though?
Yeah.
Like I think he was kind of proud of it, because that's that fat guy. There, whatever. I'm assuming.
You just stepped in a landmine. Oh man.
God damn it! That Amazon customer, who I have a theory as to who it might be, spent a lot of time coming up with the diaphanous folds.
That probably is a dude, because that sounds like a little dick, just like writing. Yeah.
This person was six. No, I don't know. What?
I just like the nope.
Billy Collins of sci-fi.
That's great.
Absolutely.
I can't believe Kyle Simmel, the director of Writers and Books, would write that kind of review about.
It's surprising, but that guy, you get him a couple drinks and he's just on Amazon, just one-starring the shit out of everything.
I think everybody should write a review. Everybody that's reading along with us for this season, write a review and post it to Amazon. I don't know if I've ever done an Amazon review, but I'm going to write one for this.
Yep.
Good luck finding which one's mine. But it could be a fun little community place. It'd be like Reddit, but for book nerds.
You can also just keep inventing new names for stuff. Yeah. That's cool too. I'm in on that. Like,
all right, I'm gonna do it. You do it, and I challenge everybody else. Write your best, funnest, most whatever, honest, whatever you want.
Review at the end of the season, on the last episode when we have Dubravka on, assuming that she comes on, we'll read her a few of them and we'll choose the best one. Yeah. And then the winner will win something. They'll win a collection of all of her books signed. All of her books that we have, that we published, she'll sign them. We'll give it to the winner of the best review on Amazon by whatever standards we come up with. So yeah, get to work, guys.
That's our season 5 twist. We got
that. Is it. All right. Got 2 twists. 3, preparation, aggressive towards gas, writing reviews.
Nope.
This is a recipe for success.
Oh yeah.
Awesome,
well,
man.
We're getting canceled, so there won't be a season 6. So let's go out with a bang.
All right. Oh, that's right. Speaking of, we'll have that too. We can just roll into our announcements part, since this is just the intro and a shorter episode. But I said online that we'd tell like what the next book would be too, so that people can even look further ahead. And so we're gonna do Fox. The whole schedule is available on 3%. There's a post there. I'll keep posting it each week. But like for next week, we're gonna be reading part 1, which is pages 1 through 45. And I think it has a subtitle, which is A Story About How Stories Come to Be Written, which is after the Boris Pielnik story. But after we do this season, which will run into August, we're going to jump into doing a book that's not an open letter book. In particular, we're going to do Fernando Pessoa's The Book of Disquiet, which was recently reissued by New Directions in a new revised translation. And Pessoa is fascinating. People who have read him or come across him love him. And the book offers like it's great for this because a lot of people are intimidated by it. It doesn't really have a lot of plot, so we can just take anything and go in any direction we want. Like we're not bounded.
Excellent. Another huge book with no plot.
There's literally you could take every section and be like, well, here's the weather in Lisbon today, and then we can just like riff for a while.
Yeah. I just recall really liking the cover of that book.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's like a painting with like crazy colors on it and stuff. Or a portrait
it's a gorgeous book.
Yeah, it looks really cool. So,
and it's a hardcover, and NDs said that they'd help promote the the show and help promote, get more people, get more guests on. So we should have a lot of fun with that. But so those are the 2 books that we have lined up. Fox first. Get your copy of Fox, 20% off, 2 month. Then get Fernando Pessoa's The Book of Disquiet. We'll talk about that more, a month and a half from now.
Yeah, and which Michael J. Fox movie theme do you want for the season? For the intro music. Pick that as well, you guys.
Yeah. Give us some some good Michael J. Fox movies, which I'm trying frantically to find. Fox movies.
I don't know what it is off the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure Teen Wolf is going to have a great theme. So
Teen Wolf for sure has to, right? Secret of My Success. Jesus, why do I remember that movie?
Yeah, that's the first thing that popped.
Light of Day. I'm not even aware of that. There aren't that many. But anyways, yeah. So listen to that. Be sure and subscribe on iTunes. We have this coming out under 2 feeds. It's under the 3% podcast, and it's also under its own feed, 2-month review. Subscribe to both and download both because it'll make me feel better when I look at our statistics. That would be cool. Also, if you rate us there, that would be fantastic, and write a review for us. And that review doesn't have to be positive. You can just say that we're idiots. I'm good with that. Whatever you want. Otherwise, I don't know if there's anything else. You can follow us on Twitter. We do have a Gmail account now. If you notice this, if you're watching this live or watching it at any point in time, it's on this new channel. That's just the 2-month review channel. So if you email 2monthreview@gmail.com with any comments or questions, we can talk about them there. And as always, you can always post in the comment section as we're talking live, and we'll address anything anyone has to say. Otherwise, you can follow us. Follow you, Brian, at BrianWood_ on Twitter, and I'm Chad W. Post. So did I cover all the crap that we have to cover?
Yeah, I'm sorry. That was boring.
It's so boring, and it's hard to remember. But I feel like everyone else
I know.
I listen to does it so professionally, and I'm just like, some shit. God, at the end, I don't know.
Give me the bullet points of what you want done next week. I'll handle next week. Watch. I'm gonna do it'll be like an infomercial. I got this.
Intro?
Yeah.
Intro.
No, you can do the intro. I'll do the intro. I'll do it.
Yeah, you do. Yours is always more fun.
Oh yeah.
Intro, Twitter, reviews, iTunes.
All right. Bye everybody.
Bye guys.
That's how it's done.
See you next week with pages 1 through 45.